Hello, this is Alexey. In previous video tutorials we create responsive company website from scratch with a blog portfolio and upload it to the hosting. In this video tutorial we'll talk about Joomla user management, registration, groups and access levels. To separate access rights as well as to personalize site in Joomla, there are users. Users are divided into groups, and groups are divided into access levels. This system is called ACL, Access Control List. In the settings of the Joomla different parts, for example, articles, modules, menu items, and so on, there is an opportunity to limit certain action of users dependent on their groups or access level. With the help of this option, you can specify which groups of users can perform certain actions with each separate element, and with the help of access level you can show or hide different elements for different groups of the users. Many elements have access option for this. Access right options based on ACL is supported not only by built-in Joomla extension, but many third-party ones. Let's start with user creation. You can go, for example, to Users, and click here, or click here, or click here, or enter here, and click New. Here you need to enter name, login name. They can be the same or they can be different. Also, you need to enter password and then email address. After this, just click Save. After registration, user will see this email on his mail. For example, I enter the username and the password just the same, but of course they can be different. And now here we can see two users. Pay attention. The name of the user might be the same, but the usernames need to be different. Also, here we can see that this user is belong to superuser group. Here it is. And this user, by default, is assigned to register. Register user cannot get access to admin panel of the site. In this video tutorial, in a few minutes, we will see how to use user groups, and now I want just to show you how to manage users. Here you can search users. Also, you can filter users by several options: type, multi-factor authentication, active state, group, last visit data, and registration data. Also, you can change calls in this table, for example, disable last visit, email, user group, and so on. You can sort users by clicking on the title of the call, or you can select sorting options here. Also, you can select several users and active them, block them, unblock them, delete, or perform some batch operations. For example, move or copy some users from one group to another. Pay attention that you cannot disable your current user, because you log in it in admin panel. And now let's create here registration menu item and see how we can register user from the front end. For this purpose, go to menu, find your top menu or menu where you want to place this item, create new, and select user registration form. I will call it registration. Just click Save, update the page, and if we click here, we won't see registration form. Why? Because by default in Joomla, in options, the option Allow user registration is off. You need to set yes, and then Go to registration and we will see our registration form. Let's register new user, for example, name, username, password, and I will enter the email. Pay attention, the email might be unique. For example, if we already have email like this, we cannot register user with the same email. Now just click register, and on the user's mail we have this email. We need to click on this link and activate our user. We need to enter our username and password. And here we can see the new user. Now I want to show you another way to user activation, but first we need to log out from here. For this we need to go to our menu and create new menu item. It will call Logout. I will call it just like that. Update the page, log out, and now we log out. Let's go to our user settings, and here let's select, for example, administrator. New user account activation by administrator. Let's save and close it. Go to registration and let's register new user. For example, like this. Let's enter new email, register. The user, as in the previous time, will get this email. He needs to click on the link, but now he cannot log in after activation. When user will confirm his email, the administrator will get his own email. This is admin mail. The administrator needs to click here and need to log in his account and activate user, or go here. Here is our new user. The administrator needs to check it and activate it. After this action, user can log in here in the front end. But for this purpose, it might be great to have a login menu item. Let's go to menus and create new menu item. This is user type and it login form. Just save it, update the page, click login, and now we can enter our username and password. Now our new user is logged in from the front end. Let's see how you can customize this form. For example, there is a minimum requirements for password. You can change it. Go to Users, Options, and here in Password option you can set minimum password line, for example 8. Update it, update here, and we can see 8 characters. But this is the minimum number of characters. If you select, for example, 7 and save it, there will be error. So the minimum length of the password is 8 characters. Let's see how to add CAPTCHA here. For this purpose, go to Plugins, here find CAPTCHA, and let's select Captcha reCAPTCHA. Here we need to go by clicking on this link. You need to have Google account, for example Gmail. Go to Admin Console and create new site. Here enter site name. For example, I will use some unexistent domain, for example something like this, but in your case I suggest you to insert your domain name. Here we need to select second version, because here For now there is no third one. Here you need to specify your own domain of your site. I will specify some non-existent domain just for example. Click Submit. Now copy this key, enter it here, and this key, enter here. Just enable the plugin, save and close, then go here to Global Configuration and select Captcha reCAPTCHA. Also, you can specify Captcha here in the options. On User Options, here you can specify Use Global if you already select this Captcha in Global Settings, or select here Use Captcha reCAPTCHA for registration process only. If I'll refresh the page, I will see the Captcha with error. Why? Because my domain, this is local website, and it's not the domain that I specify here, but in your case you will enter your real domain name from here to here, and then you will see no error, you will see something like this. For now I will turn off my Captcha for registration form. And now let's add terms and conditions checkbox here. For this purpose, go to Plugins and look for terms and conditions. Here is our plugin. Here you need to enter some short text. Select or create new article with the full condition text. How to create articles we already saw in previous video tutorial. I will just select something, for example, enable this plugin, save it, update the page, and we can see our short text here, our radio buttons, and our full text. And now let's see how to add some additional fields in this registration form. Go here and look for Profile plugin. Enter it, enable it, update the page, and we can see a lot of additional fields. We can disable some fields from the backend, or make it required. Let's save it. Now let's see, we have address to city, region, country here, and we have fields postal, zip code and phone here, but they are not required. Let's update the page, and we can see that these fields were hidden and these fields become required. So, in this way, you can customize Joomla user registration form. As you can see here, we have user profile fields for profile editing form. But where we can see this editing form? For example, let's log in to our profile. Just enter username and password, log in, and we can see Edit Profile, and we can see this field, address 1, address 2. They are visible here, but we won't see in the registration form because we disable it here. Also, we have some multi-factor authentication options, but in this video tutorial we won't work with them. And now let's see how to create menu item to your user profile page. Go to Menu, create new menu, select User. Here we can see Edit User Profile and User Profile. I will select just User Profile. I will call it the same. update the page, and we can see user profile. Here we can see edit button, and we can edit our user profile data. As you can see, I'm logged into the site like a registered user, but I can see user profile, menu item, login, logout, and registration menu items. But this is not very good. For what purpose I need to registration form if I already register and log in? Also, why I need to see login menu item if I already log into the site? Let's hide unnecessary menu items for login users and for regular users. For example, if I click Logout, I will become the regular user and I will see user profile and Logout button. But that unnecessary menu items for regular user and regular users don't need them. For hiding those menu items, let's go to users and see access levels. Here we can see 5 access levels by default. Each access level have one or several user groups. Here we can see our user groups. You can create it, delete it, rename it, change their permissions, but in most cases you need just to know how to use them. For example, go to menus and find our registration menu item. To hide it for registered users, click here and select guests. Guests are users who have not yet logged in into the site. So, select guest, save and close. Now, logout button. It needs to be visible for registered user. Login button will need to be visible for guest user. And user profile is for registered user. Now update the page and we see registration menu item to register the user and login item to enter for those users who already have their account. Let's enter username, password and login. Now, as you can see, there is logout menu item and user profile, but there is no login and registration form. And now I want to show you how to create a login module. With modules we already worked in previous video tutorial. Let's add login module in the right column. Go to modules, create new module, find login module, create it, I will call it login module. Select position, in my case it will be side by right, just save it, update the page, and we can see our login module and we can use it to log in, and it automatically change for login users. There is our user profile and we can use button logout. Also, we can create an account here and move to our registration form, or even restore our password or username. In previous video tutorial, we already worked with articles in Joomla. And now let's see how to create menu item here for creating and editing articles from the front end. For this purpose, go to Menus, create new menu, go to Articles and select Create Article. I will call it just like this, save it, update the page, and if we click here, we will see this message and we need to log in. For example, I will use my created user, just log in, and now we can add new article. Why so? Because my user have no rights for this. It's just register user, and if we will see here in the Options Permission tab, we'll see that register user cannot create or edit articles. For this purpose, we need to select Author. As you can see, Author can create his articles and can edit his own articles. Let's change user group for my user. It will be Author. Update the page, and now we can create new articles. But let's see another example. For example, go here, and if I need to edit articles that won't create by this user, in this case we need to go to Content, Articles, Options, Permission tab and see. For example, superuser can do everything he wants, but there is a publisher with more rights. For example, he can edit any articles. But there is another way. For example, for authors, you can select Allowed for Editing option. Just save, update the page, and now we can see New Tool, Edit. We can click on it, and we can edit this article. And now let's look on some settings from Option tab. Here is the User option. With these settings we already work. For example, allow user registration, new user account activation. Also, we can select to send mail to administrator when new user is registered. We can select CAPTCHA, or we can add some additional parameters. For example, here now we will see some additional options: editor, time zone, and front-end language. Here we can change it. Also, here in the email domain options you can enter a list of allowed and disallowed email domain, and if you, for example, add some domain in disallowed, the user with this domain in their email cannot register on your site. With this option we already work. The permission tabs contains options with permissions for different user groups. We already talked about it in this video tutorial. Just see what action can perform these or those user groups and select whatever you want. But by default, I recommend you not to change anything here. Also, here in integration we can see Edit Custom Fields option. With custom fields we will work in next video tutorials. And these tabs contain settings that may not be needed as much as other settings, for example, the settings from this tab. That's why we won't talk about them in this video tutorial. As you can see, users and ACL in general are the great way to set rights and personalize your site to the individual visitors. Also, you should not forget about the possibility of access different pages of the site only to certain people. Access may even be paid. I hope this and other Joomla video tutorials have helped you with this CMS. In the next video tutorial we'll talk about Joomla Contact. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. This is Alexey. See you soon in new tutorials.